make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
Welcome back, everybody. I am here with Kellie Rhymes. Kellie, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me on your show. I am so honored.
Well, I am honored to have you here. First of all, I've one big question. What is a transformation practitioner?
Okay, so a transformational practitioner is a person who basically helps people relieve their negative emotional attachments to maybe negative situations,
Mm.
experiences, identities, all of those things. So basically, what I do is take people through different processes that will help them remove those emotional attachments regarding those situations within like 60 minutes.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's the gist of what it is.
Dang. And your focus is on women's hair loss, which is one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here. My grandma, who just turned 92 in June, is going through cancer treatment and chemo and has lost a lot of her hair. And it was a big deal for her. She was known as the bright redhead.
Mhm.
She dyed her hair. I mean, right up until she lost it, it felt like every 2 weeks, her hair was bright red, and that was kind of her signature like look. And
Mhm.
it was a very traumatic for her to think about wearing a wig or thinking about wearing a bandana, because it just wasn't her. And so I
Right.
wanted to, hopefully, I can figure out how to show my 92-year-old grandma how to watch YouTube. Um, and show her this, and hopefully this will help her a little bit. But why was your focus on that?
Well, so my focus is on hair loss because I experienced hair loss myself. It was mine is due to alopecia. So
Mm.
realistically, there alopecia affects a lot of women, and it's different forms of alopecia. So mine is really from hair care, like stressful hairstyles
Oh.
when I was younger, pulling on my hair, getting relaxers, and just it just basically caused me to have alopecia, and my hair follicles started dying when I was in my early 20s. So I just noticed my hair was thinning, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So that's why I chose to focus on hair loss. Now, I was coaching in a different space before, but I finally got the courage to start sharing my story, and that's why I am now focusing on helping women with hair loss.
How did you get that courage to start sharing?
Honestly, it's really spiritual. It's been something that has been popping up in my mind for a while, but I was
Mm.
scared. I didn't want to share my story to the world. Like, I don't mind talking about all types of things, but sharing that personal story is just scary for me. But I knew that when I was coaching in the other space that I needed to make a change. Like, I knew that wasn't ultimately what I was going to be teaching people or coaching people on. I knew eventually there was going to be something bigger. And that was my stepping stone to teach me how to get into the coaching space. And once I got comfortable and I was ready to put that down, I was ready to pick this up to help support women.
And you do it with like it doesn't matter really how people are losing their hair or why they're losing their hair, correct?
Correct. Any type of hair loss, I'm here to support because whatever it is, it's an emotional thing that people or women go through. And I know men go through it as well, but I can only speak from the women's perspective, right?
Yeah.
Hair is a big thing. Like you just said, your grandmother is like really struggling and she's in her 80s. Normally, an 80 something year old person was like, I don't care. I've lived my life, I'll do what I want to do. But
Yeah.
the simple thing of hair and society places such a like a big deal
Mm.
on hair and the beauty, right? That it's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously is for men. We have some comb overs that need to be addressed that shouldn't be out there. It's still an attachment. It's your identity.
Yeah.
Why is it such an like for me? I used to go to barbers and things, just like do whatever you want. My hair's been every color, it's been every size, shape, length. Like it doesn't really matter to me. There was one time I had a bad haircut and I cried. But how come there's such a connection to hair?
Because it's that connection to beauty. Basically for women, without our hair, it's like your hair is part of your beauty, period. Like we go get hairstyles, we spend thousands of dollars on extensions and weaves and all kinds of things we do to our hair because it's for beauty. And if we don't have our hair, a lot of times women feel like I'm no longer beautiful. When I first cut my hair off the first time, and this was years, like a long time ago, I felt like I looked like a man. Like I was so insecure. When I went in public, I was like, oh my gosh, I know people think I'm a man, or they're gonna it was all in my mind. And I had to get over that. So it's just strictly that image around beauty.
Did you go through like wearing wigs, trying to hide it, wearing hats, or was it always just like, you know what? Once it's shaved, I'm gonna go with it?
No. So I went through wearing wigs, turbans, head wraps, everything. I've gone through a lot of research. I've gone to doctors. I've gone through a lot of different ways to try to figure out how I can get my hair back. Now, this is before I accepted my hair loss. But when I first really realized okay, something's going on here, I immediately went to weaves and wigs. Back then, wigs, they weren't as quality as they are now. Like the lace front wigs were just coming out. So they didn't look the best, but it was better than what had been out there, right? So I had to figure my way through that. And then I still had some hair. So then I would have to style my own hair. I wouldn't even go to a hairstylist because the last time I went to a hairstylist, she put a weave in my hair and that's what really made my hair fall out. So after that, I never went back to a hairstylist. I just would do it myself. So I would put in my own weaves or style my own hair and kind of really camouflage the thin spots and the bald spots until I finally got tired.
Do you regret using those products that led you to this? Or have you now it's one of those oh, I've accepted it and it's almost made me who I am now, and you've become this I'm assuming probably completely different person than you were before. And so I'm curious about that journey through all of it.
I don't regret because it was out of my control. We didn't know. When I was younger, my mom, was sending me to a hairstylist to get my hair done. The research just wasn't there to say, hey, these relaxers will take out your hair in the long term, or, these products will take out your hair. Nobody was researching that, right? It didn't come out until later. And that was much later, in the 2000s, when women, especially women, African-American women, started really reaching out and figuring out other types of products that we could use on our hair that would not pull our hair out, because there are products that we can't use that causes hair loss that, other races can use. And we didn't know, we were using what was marketed to us. So no, I don't regret it. It was just something that happened. And I believe it had to happen to lead me to where I am now, so that I can support other women, because I am in a whole different space. I went from a person who was totally insecure and, not confident and thinking I looked like a man and covering up and hiding. I didn't even think I can get into a relationship because without, like this. I had a weave, or I always covered up. I had to change. I had to change my mindset. I had to grow, and I had to build myself up so that I could be the person I am today.
Is any of your work and advocacy talking about the products, or are you really focusing on kind of the after effects?
So it's really the after effects. I don't really focus on the products because women lose their hair in all types of ways.
Reasons,
there's so many reasons. My focus is strictly helping women when they're going through it to build them up. So I'm not saying that women have to rock a bald head like me. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying if you choose to, I want to help build you up to do that. Or if you don't choose to, you still want to wear wig or bandana or whatever, I still want you to feel confident as a woman. Even if you are receiving chemo treatments and your hair is falling out, you are still a beautiful woman. This is just a temporary situation. And I want to build women up, from that.
Can you talk a little bit about kind of that process and what you go through when you're meeting with your clients and what people are learning about themselves and how they're getting to that point of rocking whatever they choose to rock?
So when I initially meet with the client, I really sit down and talk to them. Like we're just going to go in depth. We go in depth as far as what their story is. Tell me what happened, how are you feeling? What are these emotions? And once we really get the whole story out, get these emotions out, and they express how they're feeling and also mentally, because this affects people mentally.
Yeah.
Then we go into working on those issues and working. So that's when I start taking them into the processes of, kind of alleviate or removing those negative emotions attached to the identity of their hair and losing their hair. So we kind of go through those processes. And then I also coach them just with some solutions, some ideas that they may not have thought about as far as what could help them be more confident as a woman with hair loss. So we go into some solutions, we deal with the emotions, we deal with the mental, and I actually take people through, it's a 3-month process. And then, they can work with me, we get them up and going and moving forward. And if they feel like they want to work with me longer, that's fine. But, usually that's what we start off with.
What are you hearing from people who have worked with you? I can't even imagine the difference in people.
So, and it's amazing because I will be on just like one session and the person will come in just really feeling defeated, just really feel like just that low self-esteem, almost to the point of depression. And I have actually worked with someone who was really kind of like down, didn't want to meet men or didn't think she could meet a man, just really, really hard on herself. And just really going through the processes, she realized like, look, this is not like me having hair is not who I am. Like I am a whole nother person. I am still me, regardless if I have hair or not. And so once we get to that point, then we can move forward with building, well, I'm still working with her, but that's just one, example, but just moving forward, building her up and continuing to improve her confidence.
What type of person is usually drawn to you at like what stage? Is it like when they're really upset about it, when they're finally accepting that it's happening or that it is going to happen? Like, is there kind of a spot that you usually see people finally reaching out to you?
Well, usually people will reach out to me when they've tried like the home remedies or the hair products that say they will grow your hair or the medications. Like they usually have gone through some things on their own to try to figure it out. Most of the time, even when women start seeing maybe a little hair loss around their edges, they may not be going bald, but just thinning around their edges, they start panicking. Like any type of thinning, they're going to start panicking. So, they're going to go ahead and try to figure out on their own what's happening. They come to me when it's kind of like to the point where they're like, okay, I've tried these things. I don't know what's happening, but this is affecting me personally. That's when they start coming to me.
Mm-hmm. And I love that you really are building people up to be comfortable with whatever they choose to do with themselves, whether it's going bald or like whatever it is. I love that it's you kind of meeting them where they're at and what they're comfortable with, and being able to just lift them up that way. I think that's so special. Where are you based?
So I am actually located in St. Louis, Missouri. That's where I was born and raised. I left for a while, went to Arizona, but I came back before the pandemic. So that's where I am as of right now.
And do you do stuff virtually or is it in person, or how can
Everything
people...
is virtual. Everything is virtual. Yes.
Good.
Yes.
And where can people find you?
So people can visit my website. It's www.limitlessmindsetcoach.com. And everything is on the website. You can book a discovery call with me. We could talk and get to know each other. Just check it out. And I have some information about myself. I actually share my story on the website. So if you want to see my full story, definitely check out the website.
Good. And we'll put that obviously in the notes and in the comments of of the show. What do you want people to take away from this interview and all the other ones that you're doing to talk about this?
I just want women to know that just because you have hair loss, that does not mean you're not beautiful. Okay. People see me and they don't even know I have hair loss. They just think I made a choice. And that's just simply because of the shift of my mindset, the shift of me saying, you know what? I'm not going to let this hair loss take me. I'm going to take control of it. I'm going to own it and I'm going to be beautiful and bold with it. And I want other women to feel the same way.
I just kind of want to be you when I grow up. I love it. I love it. Limitlessmindsetcoach.com is the website. This is Kellie Rhymes, everyone. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you again for having me on.
Anytime. We will be right back after this.
In this world of innovation, would you rather have an old, outdated flip phone or a brand new iPhone? A horse and buggy carriage or the newest luxury hybrid? A dial-up router with your AOL account or a super fast Wi-Fi hotspot? With nutrition, what you have been using or taking up until now hasn't been bad. There's just something newer. We all appreciate advancements in science and technology. In the same way we seek the best and newest in our electronics, vehicles, and everyday conveniences, wouldn't you also want the best technology and newest innovation for your nutrition and supplementation? At the time, you may have had the best from what was out there and available. Now, there is something better and newer, more bioavailable, more convenient, better tasting, faster acting. It literally is the equivalent to getting an IV full of high-tech nutrients right into your bloodstream, without the needle, without the appointment, without being attached to anything for a specific length of time. Simply pop these tasty, all-natural lozenges into your mouth and savor as they instantly start to absorb into your bloodstream through your mucous membranes. That's it. And with the added benefit of negative ions, in other words, energy, there isn't anything else out there on the market like it. Now is the time to switch to the next improvement and innovation in health and nutrition. It's time for advancement. It's time for better. It's time for APL Go and our rapid botanical DNA drops.
Welcome back, everybody. Hello. Just making sure that we're not muted. Okay, great. Look at these things. This was my surprise yesterday. I don't know if you watched yesterday's birthday show because I turned 40 yesterday. Tony had a surprise, and this is what showed up yesterday afternoon. And they're gigantic. We're going to put them right here for the rest of this little show. Hey, you know what also happened yesterday and today before we started the show? Here we go. 15,000 views and downloads of the show so far. So thank you for everybody who watches and shares and likes. Make sure you're subscribing and doing all of that stuff wherever you're watching or listening. And if you want to be on the show, if you're making people's days richer and you want to be on the show, or you'd like to have a commercial on the show, you'd like to sponsor the show, send an email to makeyourdayricher@gmail.com. Tell us why you should be on, and we'll get you all hooked up. Okay. Also yesterday, I want to thank Siobhan, who actually has been on this show. You can go and watch, not this show, my old show. You can go watch her episode. So thank you for your coffees yesterday. If you'd like to support the show through buying me a coffee, go to buymeacoffee.com/makeyourdayricher. Support the show so we can continue to introduce you to amazing people every single day of the week. It is International Left-Handers Day today, and so I just wanted to say happy International Left-Handers Day to my brother Robert, who is the only left-handed person in our family, who also tried to jump on the show yesterday and somehow didn't make it into the backstage. And I was disappointed, and he was disappointed that he didn't get on the show. So Rob, I told him to come back for my 50th party. And so I feel bad. So anybody who tried to get on the show and couldn't get on the show yesterday, I apologize. And that sucks. Maybe we'll just open up the lines like once a month, and anybody who wants to come on and ask questions can do that. Okay. What else do I have for you? So my Ember mug update. You all know it's been like a month since I haven't been able to. It feels like a month. It's probably been 2 weeks since I haven't been able to use my Ember mug, which is a mug that you set the temperature. It's like this little app mug. You get an app, you get the mug, you put it on a little tray, it charges, you select the temperature, and then it stays there. It stopped working. Finally, the app started working, and now the mug won't connect through Bluetooth. So, one step closer. But yesterday, I was like, this is a birthday miracle. It works, but it doesn't work. Very sad. Okay, so tomorrow's a big day. I am co-hosting a brand new podcast that premieres tomorrow, and it is called the Wolf Media Fest podcast. It'll be available everywhere you watch or listen to podcasts, including YouTube. And it premieres tomorrow. So on tomorrow's show is my co-host Kyle Hollingsworth, and we're going to be talking about that. And also, she also has her own amazing podcast called Courageous AF. We'll talk about that as well. And I wanted to show you a clip of the premiere of the Wolf Media podcast. Take a look.
But yeah, it starts off with a very fancy, formal red carpet event.
Oh, Kyle, we're gonna have to match. We're gonna have to have matching outfits.
I know. We'll call each other.
Since we're Disney princesses, I guess we have to
Yeah,
match.
no, I'm having custom made Disney princess
Shut
ball
up. I will
gowns
wear
for the
it.
two of you.
I will not, but
You know my colors. As long as I can goth it out a little bit, punk it out.
No, really though.
The Wolf Media podcast premieres tomorrow. It's a festival based out of Florida. Anybody who's in the art world, there's probably a category for you to submit your work. So check them out. We'll have the links in the comments as well, and in the show notes. And then come on the podcast. It premieres tomorrow. Kyle's on the show tomorrow, my co-host, and then Jacqueline will be here next week to talk about the second episode. So it's very exciting. And that is all I have to tell you. Tomorrow, again, Kyle Hollingsworth, the amazing host of Courageous AF and the Wolf Media podcast, will be here, and I hope you will be too. So go make your day richer, will you? And make someone else's day richer as well. I love you all. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of the love yesterday on my birthday and every day for this show. I am always, always amazed. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.